Joe Rogan was completely stunned to learn about the reality of the UK border crisis, the bizarre loophole regarding free public services for undocumented arrivals, and the rising globalist agenda of the World Economic Forum.
Well, there's also the "you will own nothing and you will be happy."
This is your Klaus Schwab,
which is
palpable
hilarious that
nonsense.
someone would even say that out loud.
I know.
You will own nothing and you will be happy. Like, is this a part of an Orwell book? Because this doesn't seem like a real person would say something like that. Because who the fuck is going to listen to that? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, George Orwell has been rather accurate in some of his
dead on. He was
predictions.
actually pretty optimistic. Like his version of the world was, a little bit more palatable than what we're dealing with right now.
Interesting man, old Etonian, fought in the Spanish Civil War. I mean, he was a very quirky Englishman who clearly had a hugely prescient foresight, and I think probably certainly like me, he had a healthy disrespect for what I call collectivist statism, and he was very much an individual and a believer in the individual.
It's really interesting because when I first read that book was in high school, and I kept thinking like, what a crazy, this had never happened. This is not even possible, but what a crazy world this guy's created in his imagination of things going completely haywire. And then you realize as time goes on, oh, that's totally possible. It's totally possible that things can get that ridiculous. I mean, when you're dealing with, biologically male athletes that compete against women because they identify as a woman and use women's locker rooms, all the craziness that we deal with today, the open border situation, no one's illegal on stolen land. Hey, fuck off. Like, what are we doing? Like, what is this?
Well, it's almost as if we're subverting all the things that made us great.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with immigration, but it's probably a good idea to make sure someone's not a fucking murderer before you let them in. Like, the idea that there should be no border at all is like, if the world was perfect, that sounds wonderful. If the world was perfect and everybody paid their taxes and everybody followed the laws, why have borders? Clearly, it's not perfect. Go to Pakistan, go to Karachi, go hang out, go down the street as a woman in a miniskirt and see how that works out. Go to some places in the
Joe,
world.
You're quite right. Pakistan is I think the
a wild place.
Example of a rogue state, basically, and I think their view of, as you say, women who dress in ways other than the ways of Sharia, i.e. totally covered.
Yes.
And again, it's all in various of the hadiths, which we quote in the Rape Gang report. They are considered to be meat. And this is something I've never understood. How do you square this circle of this sort of clannish, backward-looking culture which comes to a highly open, high-trust society and then embeds itself within that society and undermines everything that we've achieved over 1,000 years.
And acknowledging that is somehow or another racist. Acknowledging that some cultures are superior is somehow or another racist. But just understanding human rights, understanding the rights of individuals to be free, to not be subjected to other people's archaic laws. And this is, look, a lot of cultures in this world live as people lived thousands of years ago. No one in the United States wants to live as people lived thousands of years ago. No one. And this is not a racist thing. Like, you should be able to come over here and practice whatever religion you want. But if your religion has rules that violate the laws that we've all agreed are just and fair, then you're not integrating. And if you take over a whole town, and now that town is subject to these archaic laws, we've got a problem. And if you let that problem get bigger and bigger, they take over the country. And that's an actual possibility for certain countries. And we have to recognize that civilization is not as sturdy as we like to think it is. It's kind of flimsy in a lot of ways. A few bad things can happen, and things can go sideways quite quickly.
Well, I think liberty is very fragile, isn't it? Ultimately, if you don't protect liberty, you lose it.
Right.
It was Margaret Thatcher who was very strong on this.
And you have to have laws.
You have to have laws,
liberty.
But what you also have to have is everyone should be equal under the law.
Yes.
And to your point, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Britain used to be a very tolerant society. So, for instance, Europe was very anti-Semitic. Britain was never anti-Semitic. We used to welcome a lot of Jews and Protestants from Europe who were being persecuted, particularly in France with the Protestants. So we were a very tolerant society, but the people who came integrated and they contributed. And that is the essence, I think, of sensible immigration. So it should be limited, targeted, and it should be only people who accept your religion and your culture and your laws.
But what do you do, though, if someone comes over here and then they're not violating laws? They're not violating any laws. They achieve citizenship, but then they start bringing over more and more people and then start instituting Sharia law. What do you do? Do you deport them all? Like, how do you, like, this idea of having all these people, recognizing how many people got in illegally, deporting them, mass deportations, deporting criminals. It all sounds great until you talk about actually implementing it. Like, how do you do that? How are you doing that? Are you going to knock on people's doors and pull them out of their homes and ship them back to where they came from? Like,
well,
how do you do that?
I think the first thing you do is you stop them coming across.
Okay, well,
the
how
channel.
many?
They shouldn't be coming anywhere under international
estimate?
law because they're traveling across safe countries, so they shouldn't be coming.
What's the estimate of the amount of illegal immigration that you have in Britain?
It's almost impossible to say how many people are living there illegally or living with us illegally. But in our paper, I mean, we think it's sort of 1.8 to 2 million people probably. That's our estimate. But people arriving, we know how many are arriving. There's a lot arriving every day, particularly when the sea is calm.
How many arrive every day?
They're coming. Well, it can vary. I mean, you can get 1,000 in a day. You can get if the sea's rough, you get none because obviously they suffer if they try and cross in little overcrowded dinghies that they can't get across. But we're paying the French over £500 million a year to try and stop it. That I think is not happening. And as a result of that, our border patrol picks them up, gives them bottles of water, brings them in, and settles them in hotels and pays them welfare. They become, and then they apply for residency, and they say they're asylum seekers. I argue most of them are economic migrants. But our woke culture is not protecting the interests of the British people.
And it's also a massive incentive. If you live in a terribly poor country and you can just get to England and then instantaneously you will get money and housing.
That's right.
Why would you not do that?
Well, not only that, you go to the top of the waiting list for dental treatment, which British people don't get. The NHS,
What?
you go to the top of the waiting list.
Wait a minute. They get access to dental treatment that the British people don't get?
Correct.
Why? Why do immigrants get access to it?
Well, this, Joe, is the mystery of what our leaders, I don't know what they think they're doing, but they have this misguided view that these people are actually, they call them asylum seekers. They say they need to be looked after and protected. They're not. They're economic migrants. And to your point, if they know there's welfare when they reach Britain, they'll travel across multiple safe countries to get to the welfare, the free housing,
Yeah, of course.
and all the other stuff.